Sports. Alabama wins. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. And now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
All right, here we go.
At 100.9.
WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. A Town Square Media station.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning and welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. It's a Wildcard Wednesday. It is the Martin Houston Show, the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. You can get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904, or join us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter on the live stream. Give us your thoughts, your comments, your responses, your questions. Just join us in chat. It's a Wild Card Wednesday. We're doing a little buying or selling today. We're going to look at the offense, the defense, by unit, by player, by position. Hey, Dan Mullens and David Pollack speaking on this Alabama offense and Nick Saban's philosophy. We'll see what they had to say. 3 guys named preseason All-Americans, plus or minus. If Alabama only has 3 guys to make the preseason All-American team, can they win a championship? Not preseason, but can that ends up on it at the end of the season? 1 first-teamer, 2 second-teamers. Is that enough for this Alabama Crimson Tide 2023 edition to end up hoisting the national championship trophy? If not, who else needs to be on there, and how many guys need to be on the preseason All-American team, in your opinion? Buying or selling, plus or minus, what you got? Because the coaches had 14 guys on the All-SEC preseason team. Man, it's a lot to get to. The fastest hour in sports. We don't have enough time to get to it all, but we will get to as much as we can. And if we don't get to it, we'll just kick it down the road and pick it back up on tomorrow, because we do it every Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. With replays on the live stream and on the podcast on Tide 100.9 in the archive. So you can always catch us, always be a part, and we want you to be a part once again on the Alabama One hotline at 205-342-9904, or you can always be a part by joining us on the chat. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. And a reminder that we'll wrap things up with the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
How are you?
Do what?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Glad to have you back. Hope you're feeling better. Uh, got a lots different conversations we can get to. Um, Real quick on the, I don't know if you've seen Dan Mullens and Pollack both talking a little bit about um, this Alabama offense, and Dan Mullins, a guy who has been kind of a quarterback whisperer and figured out how to make a two quarterback system work. He's looking to replace Bryce Young. Mullins believes the Tide could utilize multiple quarterbacks for different situations. He praised Saban for his ability to adapt to changes in the game as they happen. One thing that makes him great, this is Mullins, is that he's never been afraid to evolve, never been afraid to try new things or make decisions. Mullins said, I wouldn't be surprised to see a multiple quarterback system this year at Alabama. Buying or selling is is Dan Mullins onto something? Is the reason we're not hearing a starting quarterback name possibly because we already have our rotation and it's going to be Jalen Miro and Ty Simpson, and it may not be just a start the season type of thing. Buy or sell?
I'm gonna sell it. It's not something Coach Saban has ever done. The first couple games, and then of course we saw with AJ McCarron and Philip Sims, but it eventually became AJ's job. We saw it again in what was it, 2015, where you saw a rotation of Cooper Bateman and Jake Coker for a little bit. Bateman started a game before Coker took over, and it was his job the rest of the year. And of course, we know about 2016 where Blake Barnett got the start, and then Jalen Hurts came in, and it was Hurts' job the rest of the year. I think we'll see that situation. And then from what we've heard, it's Jalen Miro is the top guy. And normally the more athletic, the running quarterback of the two, even though, guys like Ty and Tyler can run and do things like that, they tend to be the runner tends to be the change of pace quarterback, the guy that comes in certain situations. So I don't know how that would really work if you have Jalen as the starter, the main guy, or Tyler.
Well, I can tell you, but there's a difference. Everybody keeps naming all of the old situations. Dan Mullins started it off by saying that he has evolved. Well, the difference is those guys had to go somewhere and sit out. Now a quarterback can leave and go somewhere and play immediately. So that's a new situation that he didn't have to worry about before. Number two is at the scrimmage, Ty Simpson ran the read options and Jalen Miro didn't. So who knows what they're trying to do over there at Alabama. I'm not buying it either, but I would not be surprised. Someone needs to tell me why two quarterbacks can't play. And just because something has always been done a certain way, Alabama also used to be stout on defense, and he changed. The only area I don't see Nick Saban ever changing is defensive backs. He seems to have refused to change in every area except for there. So, but Chad is in on the Alabama on the hotline. I want to talk about the QB situation. So Chad, Chad, you may be a first-time caller. Don't remember your name before. If you are, welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One hotline for the first time. If you're a repeat caller and I just forgot your name, we welcome you back.
No, thank you, Mark. I called last week. I told you when I became a fan.
Yeah, okay. I remember that now. Go ahead. Hey, that's called being 53, Chad.
Do what now?
It's called being 53. I have too many names and memories in my head.
I understand. I'm 44, and I have the same problem. So.
Go ahead.
I'm wanting to talk about this quarterback situation. Like last week, I said, see, I work nights, and I listen to all y'all's podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
you know, driving. And I listen to you live. Here's my thing with the quarterbacks. I said Jalen Milroe last week, and I still think that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something on the podcast on the Ryan Fowler on the game last night, and he named all four quarterbacks got reps with the one. And it's almost making me think it's like a Jalen Hurts situation where this, I can't think of his name. Dylan Lonergan.
He's not. It's
he
not.
wasn't really impressing people.
It's overhyped. Now I could be wrong by the end of the year.
I'm thinking so too, because Nick Saban doesn't want to play a true freshman.
But it's not even that he don't want to. I made the Jalen Hurts comparison myself before I saw it visually. It's not even now. Here's the difference: the quarterbacks may not be as good as what we had back then, but he's not in the same stratosphere with Jalen.
Okay.
The way Jalen was playing and the way he played Saturday. Now I've only seen one live scrimmage, so. But now I don't want to. Let me be careful with this. I do not want to belittle the young man. He has moxie. He has it. He will. When it's his time, you ain't gonna be able to just pass him by. You're gonna have to deal with him. If he stays here, you're gonna have to deal with him. Right. There was numerous balls that if you replayed that scrimmage, and he had one. Let me say positive as well. He had one pass, Chad, that would have been a touchdown, and the only reason it wasn't a touchdown was because they had the two-hand touch sacks. Okay, it's beautiful pass, whatever.
Right.
So, but he didn't do that against the ones. Make it clear. But he also had.
I thought it was
several balls that would have been, if you replayed it back, they'd probably be picked off.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. So, but he is good. The reason I think everybody talks about him the way they do is because he was a 15 guy and no one expected anything out of him this year. Okay.
Right.
And so you ever seen that situation where something surprises you, so it catches your eye, so it's like a glimmer, and so it always catches your eye. But the reality of it is, if you were to put it up there and it got more reps, let me give you a quick example. When I was a freshman, if you came to scrimmage, you would have walked away saying Martin Houston should be starting in front of all the fullbacks.
Right.
And I'm not being arrogant with that, but it was because I had I had like 2 or 3 unbelievable scrimmages. Coach Curry called me in his office and said the following: Martin, you're ready to play SEC football, but you're not going to play in front of these other guys. But to the fans, it looked like I was, because every time I went in, I either got first downs, or I got to run the ball on goal line, so I got a couple touchdowns, or I had a couple nice runs. And I would have been really, really good if I had to only play about 8 to 10, maybe 15 plays a game.
So in other words, it's kind of like when Derrick Henry was behind T.J. Yeldon.
Yeah. If you bring me in and I only have to play a few plays, I look like I was ready, but I was not ready to be a full-time starter as a freshman. And that's the way, and I think that's what it is with Lonergan. He is talented. And I don't want to be shortchange that. But give him the whole playbook and the other team film, Chad. In Alabama, if Lonergan is our quarterback, I think we're going to be in trouble.
That's the next point I was getting at is, man, if he starts, then I'm not real sure, like.
And then again, I guess we could be so lean, run heavy that it may not matter who the quarterback is. And that's another possibility. I'm getting from a guy we got to go to break. X, I'll let you respond. And Chad, thanks, man. Appreciate your hard work out there, and thanks for tuning in live with us on your way home, man. Get some rest. Stay safe, stay awake, and stay safe, and get some rest this morning.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, Roll Tide. We'll be back on the other side. X, I'll let you respond to that coming out of the break. More conversation right here. Roll Tide with Martin and Xavier on the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaX Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things looking pretty good on the roadways on this Wednesday morning. If you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, just give me a call, 205-886-8886. Grab a deal now at Townsend Nissan. $2,000 off Rogues and Altimas, $5,000 off Muranos, and $6,000 off Titans and Armadas. Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray.
Hey, this is Reagan, owner of R&R Cigars, the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, located at 2703 6th Street across from the Home 2 Suites. Come down to R&R and see why we're the ultimate cigar and bourbon experience. With over 165 bourbons and 5 private barrels, our selection of bourbon is unmatched. We have the best cocktails around, and our cigar selection is legendary. Our lounge and service are world-class. Come and experience the luxury of the mansion and see why it's a world-renowned cigar and spirits destination.
You've been putting back a few. And a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Okay. Next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unmistakable, fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The hottest week of the year rolls along. The sky mostly sunny today, the high near 100. Fair tonight, below 78. Very similar weather tomorrow and Friday. Lots of sunshine both days. Highs will stay close to 100 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 77 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's Wednesday. It's the Wildcard Wednesday, a buy-sell Wednesday. But before we get going talking about buy-sell, I want you to make plans for next weekend's kickoff. Billy's Cooking Restaurant has some great platters with you, starting off with those wing platters, party wings. You start off with the 25 count for $27, 50 count for $51, or 100 count for my eyes are back $90 for 100 count. All assortments of flavors. You can also get the wings and ribs, slab of rib combo party platters. If you got a bunch of people coming in, you can get the Champ 8 slabs of ribs and 100 wings, but you may just have just a few people coming in. You can get the T-Town special, 3 slabs of ribs, 50 wings. That's $130. Comes with 1/4 sauce. That feeds 15. That Champ feeds 50 people. So based on how big a party group you're having, and if you're somewhere in between, get the SEC deal, 5 slabs of ribs, 75 wings. Either way, you can call Billy's Cooking Restaurant, place that order. Make sure you place it by next Wednesday for next Saturday's game. You can call over there and they'll take care of it. 205-632-8617. And hey, listen, if you want some wings for lunch today, opening at 11 o'clock, and today is, of course, the deal where you can get those wings, 50-cent wings. So go check them out. Wing Wednesday is happening today at Billy's Cooking Restaurant. All right, X, you were about to respond to the prior conversation we were having with Chad regarding this quarterback situation. Lonergan and I give an example of I was a good freshman, but I wasn't ready to play, 50 plays. I was good enough to play as a freshman, but I was not ready to be the man by myself. And that's the difference between quarterback. Can you do it after they get film on you and 55 plays into a game? Can you still do it, or will it taper off? And I think that's where Lonergan is. He's out there free willy-nilly right now, so it looks good, but not quite the same.
Yeah, when you're looking at a guy that doesn't have anything to lose, they play a lot looser, they play a lot freer. And that's what I think you've seen out of Dylan. And as you said, but is he ready to be the guy? I don't think so. But as you said, a lot of people are already writing off whoever wins this job, the next starting quarterback is going to be Julian, saying the 5-star in the 2024 class out of California. But I'm telling you, everything I've heard about Dylan Lonergan, as long as he's wearing a Crimson Tide jersey, it's going to be hard not to get him, off the field when it's his time. He's going to be able to make a push and be everything that we should be based off of what we've seen a year or two down the road. So I'm excited for him. Not his turn yet, but as long as he's here when it is his turn, he's going to do everything he can to win the job and be the guy.
Buy, sell, X. Alabama, no matter who the quarterback is, Alabama goes undefeated, plays in the SEC championship game. The next week is signing day, right? Early signing period.
Yeah.
Julian saying still sign with Alabama. They're 13-0.
Yes.
You think he's still signing? Because see, everybody doesn't understand. This kid may not even be here though. I'm not sure I'm buying that he will just automatically come to Alabama, especially if, let's say, Ty wins the job. It doesn't matter. Each one, the only guy that makes him possibly a lock at signing at Alabama to me is Buckner. If Milroe wins the job, he has 2 more years, and he'll be the starting quarterback on an SEC championship team that plays for a national that's playing in the college football playoffs. Because now you have to start asking yourself, I don't say he won't sign with Alabama. I'm talking about, does he sign on the early signing period? They're going to win a national title.
I think he does.
They're going to win a national title. Does he still sign? Okay. Because I don't care how good he is. Jalen Milroe take this team to a national title. He got at least 1 more year that he's going to watch. He ain't going to take the job the next year. So that's 1 year. And if Jalen comes back and wins the job, or Ty wins the job, either one of those guys, they have 2 more years. Unless Jalen has
I'll say this: the only 2 guys that I think would really put a damper in Dylan Lonergan, and we haven't heard anything about Holstein. Holstein is the 15 guy. It is what it is with him right now. But Lonergan would be the only other one, because I look at it like this. Buckner and Milroe, if they have breakout seasons, they could potentially leave after this year. They could. doubt it just because of the quarterback class that you got coming out with Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bo Nix, and other guys across the country. They come back next year. They're both redshirt juniors, or even Ty. He can't leave. He'll be a redshirt sophomore next year. Any of those three guys have another great season, they're gone. Ty, 2 years, he's gone. He's gone. Jalen Buckner, 3 after redshirt juniors, they're gone. He's battling for the starting job as a redshirt freshman. The only guy that concerns me at this point is Lonergan.
By sale, then, if either one of these guys are leaving in 2 years, then we have 2 back-to-back national titles. Because ain't no way any of these guys good enough to be leaving after 2 years from now, in my opinion. There ain't no way.
Yeah, I mean,
so my point is,
I get where you're coming from with that, but I believe more so with Ty and Jalen, like Jalen Milroe, if developed properly, is a Lamar Jackson type of quarterback, and that's going to be intriguing to NFL scouts. And he has 2 years to prove it, in my opinion. With Ty is a young Aaron Rodgers style of a quarterback who has athleticism like Rodgers did early on in his career. If both of those guys go out, win at least one national championship, play great over 2 years, they could be 2 years from now NFL quarterback.
If that's the case, we are back on the mountaintop. And my daughter will leave Georgia without.
I agree. If that's the case, we win at least one national championship.
No.
We win it this year.
If those 2 guys are that good, we have 2 national titles. And my daughter leaves Georgia without one. So I kind of hope I'm wrong. I mean, I just don't see. I don't see Alabama using Milroe the way that, athletic wise, he's a Lamar Jackson, but I don't see Alabama using him that way. I don't see the opportunity. It's just like we consistently see DBs leave here and then they get better in the pros recently, right?
Yeah.
We were so worried about Diggs leaving here, and then he goes to the pros and he's All-American. Why? Because there was just small changes that was made to his game that put him over the top. So I don't know. We'll move on from there, from the quarterback position. But I do think that it impacts him from a recruiting standpoint, because it's one thing that like I said, if I just wonder sometimes about Tua and Jalen, how different that would have been had Jalen won the national title game. Had he won it.
Oh, I think if Jalen wins the national championship against Georgia, well, I think if Jalen had won the Clemson national championship,
no, that's the one I'm talking about.
Georgia. Yeah, I don't think he gets pulled against Georgia.
Huh? Do what now?
No, yeah, I was just saying I don't think if he wins the Clemson game, he doesn't get pulled against Georgia. If he loses the Clemson game and beats Georgia, I believe Tua transfers.
That's my point. And if Julian comes here off of this year, here's the thing. Watch this. Bama fans, buy, sell. Would you rather have Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson take this team to a national title and lose Julian Sayin? If you had to choose between Julian Sayin signing in December or this team playing for a national title, which one you buy, sell? Buy, sell, baby. Which one you doing, X?
I'm buying the natty. I'm buying the natty and selling and saying. It's been too long.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think. I think the kid would think the same way. So, because you don't want that. You don't want a national championship quarterback to be back at the helm again, especially one that comes from where this kid would have come from. Whoever this quarterback is, if they get Alabama to a national title, they would have accomplished as much or more than any quarterback in Alabama's history in Nick Saban's era. Because everybody else has kind of been like, whew, yeah. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Another buy sell. Go ahead. Buy sell. Alabama moved the offensive line around. Should they moved Tyler Booker to left guard? Would you, if you were coaching this team, would you have rather made the move and left Booker at guard and maybe put Latham at left tackle?
I would have moved Latham. I would have moved Latham to left tackle and left Booker at right guard, put Proctor over there or Pritchett, whoever. Because if there's a struggle there, I would rather that struggle be in my quarterback's face so they can see it coming than it be on their blind side. We don't have any left-handed quarterbacks. So JC is not protecting anybody's backside. He's protecting their front. I would have rather moved JC to the left, Proctor at right, and then honestly Ferguson at left guard next to Latham.
Yeah, so interesting. I wonder, because when I look at it, I'm buying Latham to left tackle over Booker. If I look at the guys, to me, Pritchett at right tackle and Booker, and if I'm laying it out, 5 combo. I love Latham and Booker and being beside each other. I mean, with Brockermeyer, with our center combo. When you break that up, I go, is
right.
Proctor and Booker? I don't feel the same about the offensive line. Dalcourt and Latham. I don't feel the same, but I guess the question I would ask is, do you feel worse? Which one makes you feel better? Buy, sell, X. Let's get the break. I'm going to ask you on that offensive line. We're going to pick – this conversation is going to tomorrow. We'll talk recruiting with MaX recruiting on tomorrow. Big news today with Houston committing. Bama may lose out, maybe not. Could the pipeline stay? But we'll talk about that on tomorrow. But we're also going to take some of this conversation on this buy, sell too. But I want to ask you about the offensive line combo on tomorrow. When we come back out of the break, because I really think that there's a lineup that makes me feel better, even in Proctor right now, because of some of the concerns as a freshman. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things looking pretty good on the roadways on this Wednesday morning. If you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, just give me a call, 205-886-8886. Grab a deal now at Townsend Nissan. $2,000 off Rogues and Altimas, $5,000 off Muranos, and $6,000 off Titans and Armadas. Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray.
$100,000 hot summer nights at Golden Moon and Silver Star Casinos. What better way to spend weekends in August than playing for your chance to win a share of $100,000? Join us Fridays and Saturdays from 7 to 11 p.m., where one winner every hour plays for some of our biggest cash and bonus bet prizes. Want to be a winner? Visit Pearl River Resort.
Connecting one-to-one was the support I needed.
I was helped by group therapy. Finding the right physician made a difference in my mental health.
For many, feelings that lead to suicidal thoughts are not just a phase or simply a mood. They're signs someone may need mental health support. Help is available 24/7.
Talking about my true feelings changed my life. Saved it, really.
There is no shame in sharing how you feel. Call 988 and be connected to a trained mental health counselor. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Mental Health.
Babe Buckner here for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. You may have seen me on our TV commercials. You may even be the one who said I have a great face made for radio. But let me say this, I'm still excited to come to work every day. Tuscaloosa Hyundai is a great story. The first Hyundai showroom of its kind built from the ground up in the United States and still state-of-the-art. Eco-friendly from showroom to service department. Tuscaloosa Hyundai employs over 100 of your friends and neighbors, a sales and service team with over 500 years of combined experience. We are dedicated to supporting Tuscaloosa area schools and charities. We are honored to win Best of the Best recognition as voted on by you. But the greatest satisfaction comes from proving every day, if you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove, TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Alabama won. Giveaway, road tripping. We're spending the day on the water, just trying to relax and see the scenes that Alabama won. Help you get out of town. Weekly road trip, $100 gas gift card. Monthly weekend getaway, $1,000 gift card, or one grand prize vacation, a $5,000 gift card package. Many different ways to win. Get any auto, recreational vehicle, or equipment loan and be entered to win, or open a certificate of deposit or an Ascend Fund saving account with Alabama One and be entered to win. Our deposit accounts offers competitive rate, high returns, as high as 5.3 on our CD rate. So go ahead and open that account today with as low as $1,000. And then, of course, all of our great loan products as well. Go by Alabama One, one of our branch locations, or stop by and do business with our virtual branch via alabamaone.org. Making you a winner today, asking you the question, what's your one? All right. Well, offensive line situation. Okay. You got an opportunity potentially, if I had to move some people around, I would put Latham at left tackle. And then you'd have the same situation that you have right now. Dalcourt would be the left guard, right? And you'd have an older veteran preseason, All-American on your quarterback's blind side. Then the other side, I like Booker and Pritchett there. I think Pritchett is he struggled with pass pro. I think he's a good run blocker. I think you alleviate some of that if you're going to move somebody around. Or you can put Proctor over there because he's a good run blocker. I don't know why they don't make that move. Which one of those would you have, the way they had it set up with Booker going to the left and Proctor on the left and then Dalcourt and Latham, or the one that I just named? And Ferguson is in there.
I would definitely flip it and have JC on the left. I think his body of work so far, he was a very dominant blocker last year. great in pass pro, and an amazing run blocker. I would really prefer to have him protecting any of these quarterbacks blind side over a true friend. Talking about the inexperienced quarterback, but you're going to have an inexperienced quarterback, inexperienced tackle protecting their blind side. So that could be a bigger worry than just the quarterback situation in and of itself. So I would definitely flip Proctor and Latham over flipping Dalcourt and Booker.
Yeah, and the only reason I could think that, and the reason, in this part of the reason I love, the only reason you don't do that move, in my opinion, potentially, is, first of all, maybe, I don't know, maybe Latham, balked against it. I don't see why he would, why a guy would not want left tackle on his resume. Is that as part of your passing game is going to be play action run, right? And if you have a right-handed quarterback, you want to be able to threaten a run to the right side more than you do the left side, because it's a natural progression. If you go back and hand the ball off on the right-hand side, and that's your run-heavy side, then the play action becomes more powerful, because the quarterback, if you play action to the left, the quarterback has to play action, then flip his hips to get back in a position to throw the ball. So maybe this means that we're going to have more of a play action pass game than we do a straight drop back pass game. That's the only reason I say, and they want the right side run game to be stronger. And when you do that, Dalcourt and Latham gives you a strong run game to the right, while Booker gives you, and Proctor gives you a fairly strong run game and a better pass blocking than the Dalcourt Proctor scenario. Let's get to Pat real quick to let him respond. He wants to say something about the offensive line. Pat, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Martin, I was wanting to play. What if you're talking about, you're making all kinds of different scenarios there. What if coach decides to stay with two quarterbacks? The offensive line has a difficult time not knowing about whether they're going to be in blocking situations or passing situations. And what's worse is other teams are going to have a very difficult time preparing for two different quarterbacks.
I don't think the two quarterbacks, having two different quarterbacks, makes it difficult on the offensive line. The most difficult thing for the offensive line, Pat, to me, when a two quarterback situation, is if you run two different style offenses. If they both are in the pocket, play action, that type, then I don't think it matters as much. I do think it makes it more difficult for the defense if one guy has more of a run threat, because when Milroe's in, you may spy more than you do when Simpson is in. So that could totally impact coverage, and guys get confused on when they spy, when they don't, et cetera. So,
yeah. Well, I'm hearing that Jalen's passing has improved quite a bit. From what I've heard.
The only complaint I've heard on Jalen is that he was turnover prone, but that only happened that one game. We never heard about Jalen Milroe having a turnover problem all last summer, his freshman year, all last summer. We didn't hear it before the Arkansas game. We didn't hear it before the A&M game. We heard it after the A&M game. We haven't. When have you heard them say anything about Jalen Milroe making turnovers in spring or summer? We've all made him a turnover machine because of the one game. Other than that one game, when have we heard him make a bunch of turnovers and mistakes?
We hadn't heard anything about it during fall camp.
We didn't hear anything about it during spring. I mean, people talked about it, but no one said. X, did you hear anybody come out and say, "Well, he threw 3 interceptions today and fumbled it twice"? None of that's been said.
No.
And so that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking that they could definitely be 2 quarterbacks because coaches got to keep them involved.
And that's what this whole thing is about. Pat, I got to get the break here, but that's what this whole thing is about, Pat. This is transfer portal competition, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think this is a transfer portal race, which makes this different. Which makes no sense of why Buckner was brought to the mix. He was Saban. Buckner is the first guy that the people said that about Marshall at linebacker. Well, he's really not better. Marshall, now that he's healthy, Marshall is playing at middle linebacker. You can see, had this kid not had injuries at Georgia, he probably wouldn't have been able to be in the portal because he'd probably been in the league. I don't know how much he's going to play here because Alabama has a lot of talent, but he is a talented linebacker.
Yeah.
So, but the Buckner kid makes no sense.
I'm thinking Buckner came in for a grad assistant job
for 3 years.
He's coming here to learn to coach, is what I actually think.
For 3 years.
Yep.
All right, that's what everybody says. But I go.
I think he was an insurance policy.
I do too.
I think he was an insurance policy.
We got to get the break. All right, have a good one, guys. We'll be back on the other side.
Have a blessed one.
Thanks, guys. All right, coming back on the other side, we'll wrap up this edition of the Martin Houston Show, and we'll get Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, into the conversation.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things looking pretty good on the roadways on this Wednesday morning. If you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, just give me a call, 205-886-8886. Grab a deal now at Townsend Nissan. $2,000 off Rogues and Altimas, $5,000 off Muranos, and $6,000 off Titans and Armadas. Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. An excessive heat warning for all of west and central Alabama is in effect, and it will most likely continue through the remainder of the week. Heating to seas upwards of 112 degrees are possible, but more seasonable temperatures are in the forecast for next week. Excessive heat, though, expected to affect West Alabama through Sunday. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hey, this is Reagan, owner of R&R Cigars, the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, located at 2703 6th Street across from the Home 2 Suites. Come down to R&R and see why we're the ultimate cigar and bourbon experience. With over 165 bourbons and 5 private barrels, our selection of bourbon is unmatched. We have the best cocktails around, and our cigar selection is legendary. Our lounge and service are world-class. Come and experience the luxury of the mansion and see why it's a world-renowned cigar and spirits destination.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. Just to address that with Pat on the Tyler Buckner situation, I think Buckner was brought in as an insurance policy in case there had been a separation at quarterback early on, a big separation between Ty and Jalen either way, to have a guy that had college experience instead of having 2 true freshmen be the backup, especially with the inexperience of the starter is. So I think that's where Buckner is. He could stay here for 3 years and be a coach. He also could be close to graduating. And if the situation plays out with one of the other 2 guys creating a huge gap between him, he'll leave again, play out his last year or a year or 2 somewhere else.
Or it could also be about as much about next year as well. Because, you could have one of these guys win the job and and the next thing you know, Buckner is the guy that's the backup. If Ty leaves, Jalen wins the job, or vice versa. They leave, you still have a fourth-year guy as your backup who has playing experience versus a redshirt freshman or a true freshman. So it's definitely about insurance. And Virgil we talked about the 2QB system. He says 2QB system makes it harder on the O-line with the cadence, possibly causing more false starts. With the way they play today, I'm not sure they even use cadences anymore because of the stadium. A lot of times the quarterback claps and then it's on the center. The center and the guard a lot of times are the ones that set the offensive line. It's just a snap. It's not even a verbal cadence anymore. So I think that's part of the other reason that a cadence can be situated. Not situated, but can be overcome. So when we look at that potential as a problem. Do we have Scotty yet?
We've got him on the
All
line.
All right, let's bring in Scotty Hollins. It's now time for the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week. As we move forward, we got Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing?
Good morning, Martin. Always a pleasure to join you on Wednesday mornings, man. I'm excited to continue our series, Strength Through the Storm, and Strength for the Storm. And the reality is, man, we talked about the fact that, hey, we've all heard that, hey, either you're in a storm, you're about to go into one, or you just came out of one, right?
Absolutely.
So you got to learn how to dance in the rain. Yeah, so you got to learn how to dance in the rain. So I'm excited about walking through this series because everybody's going through something. I know that to be true. We say hello, we say, hey, how you doing? Everybody's like, I'm great. And obviously, life is tough. So people are going through different things, and there's more behind that I'm great. And so I would say, for those that really well, press in a little bit, and just try to see if you can, at times, because, and sometimes we are great, but other times that, we need that person to press in. And so I want to give you a few things, a few quotes that we have shared, and then we'll go straight to the scriptures. But these quotes are point us back to the scriptures, actually. And they say, this is A.W. Tozer, the most important thing about you is what you believe about God, because that becomes the lens through which you see all of life. I actually use that through our Summer Through the Psalm series. I'm using that even through our Strength for the Storm series, because it speaks of perspective, and it helps you to understand that, hey, we're not products of our circumstances, but we're products of our choices. And what you see has everything to do with what you will do and how you will choose and how you will respond. And so I want to look at some guys who went through some serious stuff. We looked at David this summer, and now I want to look at Paul for a couple of weeks. And looking at Philippians 1, we've looked at this passage before, probably a year or two ago, but this thing never gets old to me. Paul is in prison for preaching the gospel, guys. He's in prison for preaching the gospel. And, the question is, how would you feel? What would be your perspective in that difficult time? And how would you feel about being in jail for doing something right, for telling people about Jesus? Would you feel like, hey, God's abandoned me? Would you feel like, hey, this isn't worth it? What would you feel? How would you respond? And I think your answer points back to what you see, and it also points back to your bigger perspective of God and his plan for your life. Listen to what my man Paul says. He says he's in jail and he's writing. Check this out. Paul is in jail writing a letter to encourage people how to persevere through difficult things. And I'm gonna tell you this: if you're gonna listen to somebody, listen to that guy.
That's right.
The guy who's in jail and he's writing a letter of encouragement to you. And he's in jail for preaching the gospel. All right, here he goes. He says, Philippians 1, verse 12. He says, now I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what has happened to me, and we're only looking at a couple verses, that what has happened to me, speaking of being, in prison, what has happened to me has actually served to advance the gospel. Man, this dude he's saying I'm in jail, but me being in jail has has actually served to advance the gospel. He says, as a result, it has become clear throughout the whole palace guard and to everyone else that I am in chains. Listen to this, for Christ. Everybody knows I'm in jail, but they also know why I'm here. Now check it out. He goes further. Last verse. He says, and because of my chains, most of the brothers and sisters have become confident in the Lord. There's a benefit. He says, and dare all the more to proclaim the gospel without fear. He said, man, I'm in jail, but let me show you the bright side there. You know, when you talk about strength through the storm, your perspective is going to give you strength through the storm. But the question is, what do you believe about God? Because therein lies your perspective and the power to have optimism in the midst of the darkest situations. This is a pretty dark situation. My man Paul has lots of optimism. And listen, it's not blind optimism. He has every reason to be optimistic, but it's because he's thinking about the fact that, hey, I'm in jail, and me being in jail has allowed everybody to see I'm in jail for preaching the gospel, which means they know I believe what I'm preaching, and that's giving them confidence to go preach it all the more. So I want to just encourage you guys, as you go through difficult situations, difficult circumstances, there is a bright side, always. You want to know why? Romans 8:28 says, in all things. What's the rest of it say, Martin? In all things, God works together for the good.
That's right.
Those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. He didn't say most things. He didn't say some. He said in all things. So as you look for that strength through the storm, we'll look at some more benefits and some more things that can provide strength through the storm. But right now, I want you to think about perspective. I want you to think about, what do you believe about God that can help you know that, hey, there's a bright side to this circumstance, this difficult thing that I'm going through.
Yeah, and I always love to take and make an analysis to sports so that people can grasp it. You think about most of Nick Saban has had 6 national titles here, 7 total. He's only had 2 undefeated teams. Most of his teams lost games early in the season. If you ask any of his players how different the team was on the other side of the loss, how they got stronger and better after the storm than they did before the storm. Only 2 times national titles. His first one and his last one. All the other ones at Alabama was a loss. The other thing is, when you think about lifting weights, your muscles actually are torn apart and then they repair themselves stronger.
Wow.
I mean, God gives us so many analysis in our spiritual world that speaks to our faith walk. So tell them, Scotty, where they can find you.
Absolutely. You can go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there. Come straight to my email.
Hey, you get strength for the storm by going through the storm. So, and sometimes we try to avoid those storms, but they'll make you stronger and you'll last longer. So make sure you face the storm head on, walk through it, come out on the other side bigger, badder, stronger for it. All right. Hey, that's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries. He joins us every Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow for more recruiting with MaX Recruiting. I'm Martin Houston. That's Scotty Hollins. That was Xavier Houston. That's Noah Haynes. This is the Martin Houston Show, fastest hour in sports radio. We will encourage you and see you tomorrow. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody. Come check us out at Harvest Church tonight at 6 o'clock for the meal and 6:30 for the word and worship.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.